Okay, so here is the thing. I actually enjoy Back 4 Blood. Back 4 Blood is probably one of my favorite zombie games of all time. I never got the chance to play Left 4 Dead, so Back 4 Blood was like the next big thing. Like, I played it whenever my friends had like Xboxes. That was probably the only time I got the chance to play it. But now with this game, I was able to play Back 4 Blood almost like Left 4 Dead. Because, it's not the same game, but it is. But it's not. It's a lot more modernized, and that's what I kind of like about it. A lot of people tend to don't like how the game is, but me, on the other hand, I've been having a good time. I put like over 500 hours in the game. And no, I'm not kidding. I've been playing this game a lot. Like 2 years ago, this was my entire summer. Ever since the game came out, I've been nonstop playing this game because it's so fun. Whether it be online with friends, or just me by myself, I would play this game constantly. And it doesn't matter how many times you play it, this game always changes. It doesn't matter if you choose a different campaign or the same campaign. The card system in this game makes it to where no matter what you do, everything's going to be different no matter what. So it's always a gamble. Recently, I was watching a bunch of Back 4 Blood videos, and I just noticed something that a lot of people would talk about, like how bad it is or how they like it. But there was one in particular that I did notice that no one really had a list of their favorite levels in this game. Which I kind of like all of them. That's a lie. I don't like every single one of them. But most of the campaign in this game are actually quite fun. But with the new difficulty, No Hope, which is by far the hardest of this game, is beyond crazy. Like they said, remember when the game first came out? No patches or anything? Yeah, that's how hard it is. Only this time, it's a complete mode for you to actually enjoy how you want to play this game. Only they took it a whole different story on this. The last time I played this was like 2 years ago. I got all the levels down, plus the DLCs with the No Hope difficulty. And let me tell you, I thought Nightmare was a whole nother level. No Hope is exactly what the name of it should be. Literally, no hope. With my many hours of playthrough and my constant of me dying and retrying all over again, I had to nitpick and figure out which ones were literally the hardest ones. I'm going to do a little top 5 list for you guys, in my personal opinion, which is the hardest levels you needed to worry about. If you're new to the game, I highly recommend you don't try this because you will not make it very far. But for veterans out there, I will say, you probably still won't make it very far. This thing is hard, and it's designed to, of course, stress you out. And what I mean by stress you out, I mean you're going to be doing a lot of restarting over every single chance you get. They show no mercy in this mode. And that's why I kind of like it. It was a challenge, but it made me want to cry. But without further ado, this is going to be my top 5 levels, in my opinion, of the Back 4 Blood game. And before I go ahead and say that, be sure to like and subscribe. And let's get started.
God damn it.
The first one on this list is Pain Train. It's literally the 3rd level of the game. Already, yeah, I know. But if you get to the part where I'm going to talk about, you will understand why this level gave me so much trouble. For those who are new for this game, if you can see it right there, this is the corruption cards. This is what I was talking about when I said no matter how many times you play the game, it always changes no matter what. And what I didn't mention before was that now each level you have to fight a boss. So you don't know which boss you're getting. It's all randomized. And then of course it's whatever horde or any kind of traps or written. It doesn't matter. Stuff always changes. So this is the part where I'm going to explain how each level gave me a hard time and the reason why it gave me such a hard time. Now at the beginning of the level it starts off normal depending on who boss you get. If you get like the hag or the ogre. If you get the ogre for sure, normally if you're lucky enough, it'll spawn at the beginning of the level. And if that happens, that's when it gets kind of easy because all you really have to do is just hide in the safe room. However, the boss didn't spawn there, so I had to keep proceeding on. This part of the beginning is kind of easy because all you're really doing is mowing things down. The thing about no hope runs is the fact that if you have a horde, you honestly don't have no time to just stop and look around because that counter up there, it's much faster. So you need to scavenge whatever you need to see, money-wise, weapons. You have to keep moving, otherwise you'll get overwhelmed. And you don't want to do that in these kind of runs. But like I was saying, going up this hill, you can go ahead and just go straight through here. You know, the Ridden always runs right over there where that little house is usually a safe spot to room. If you get that in the early of the game, that's when it kind of gets pretty difficult. So if it doesn't show the spot right there, honestly, that makes the run so much easier for you. And right now you can proceed on. Skipping a little ahead of the level, this is where the boss spawned at. It is an ogre, but it is like at the most worst spot in the world right now because a lot of Ridden is just camping over here. And of course you got the special Ridden you got to worry about, and you have the toxin. At least that's what I got on my corruption card. Every corruption card level is different. However, this part right now, it's not a big deal because you can hide on the train tracks. But what I didn't mention before is like they added a new stuff of mechanic with the ogre. So now every single time the ogre roars like that, it causes a horde. Every single time. So you want to take this thing out quickly. And with the weapons that I have right now, I was actually in a hive. Or actually, no, I wasn't in a hive yet. I found a chest with the DLC character Tala, best character used in the game, by the way. She spawns these warp chests, and I was lucky enough to get one of the special weapons I'm using. However, since it's early on, I'm not doing much damage as I want to, but I'm still taking it out as quickly as I can. And like I said, this thing, once it roars, a horde's coming, and you have to deal with them while dealing with this at the same time. Now, right now, what's going on, I have no idea. It climbed all the way up there for whatever reason, so it made my part for this run pretty easy, even though it decided to climb all the way up there. But once you take out the ogre, that's only a quarter of your problems. The next part is really about to be the reason why you'll hate this level. Alright, this next part that's coming up, now if you are lucky, you can spawn, well you can't even spawn it, it's randomly. If you get a hive, I would take the hive route. Like I know if you're low on health, honestly, that would be your like savior and grace for this next part. And see right here, I was also lucky enough to get the supply room like right next to the spot where you have to camp, because you need to get over that little train spot, and in order for you to do that, you got to activate this switch, which is like right above. Once you do that, it's going to activate a horde, so you're going to have to like defend yourself while you are waiting for the sand to like pile up. That part sounds easy. However, the part afterwards is where it's going to get pretty chaotic. Once that sand is filled up, prepare to run once you make this like hurdle, because after that sand fills up, the horde doesn't stop. This part is actually an infinite horde where you have to run all the way from one area to the next to the safe room. If you guys have pipe bombs, use them. Also watch out for the sleepers, because those also ruins the run. It makes you where if your teammates are like nowhere nearby, you're taking damage while all the other Ridden is just like overwhelming you. This is a part where it gets crazy. I am over here struggling right now and trying to get over there. They put sleepers like crazy everywhere, and I'm over here just trapped by the staircase. Luckily, my teammates weren't that very far, and I know they're just bots, but those bots, they save your life. But you see how they just kind of attack you left and right, no matter how much you try to get up. And look, there's a sleeper right there. That would have stopped you as well. I was lucky enough to just keep on going. The enemies were all behind me. I got to the safe room just fine. I wouldn't say fine. My health is extremely low. But that's like one of the first of the many fews that I had to deal with. And man, it gets worse from there.
God damn it. Bandit, see me!
Up next on the list, we have Abandon. Now, this is the second to the last level of Act 1. It is also one of the longest levels in the game and one of the hardest levels in the game. But you'll see why there's going to be more after I explain to this level. So this one right here, there's like at least 2 sections that you have to worry about. 3, actually, there's 3. There's one when you start, which you get to the neighborhood. The second part is where you have to run, and then the third part is where it's going to be the most difficult. I'd recommend the trauma resistance just for this. It just depends on what all kind of cards you build up. You know, right now I had to accidentally leave my last run, so that's why I have different characters on this one, is the reason why the playthrough is a little bit different. Plus, all the stuff that I have, everything was all for me going through hives. I would definitely recommend getting those hives so you can get legendary weapons like I have, because it would be a huge help. You also want to make sure, especially if you're playing with teammates, to make sure at least one of you guys have grenades, and you're going to see why in a minute. So here's the first part of the section. You need to make your way to the neighborhood. Right now, the neighborhood part, it's not nearly as difficult because you're literally just mowing your way down. But the part that's hard is the fact that, of course, you have another horde situation, so you don't have any chance to stand around. So you gotta make sure you are gunning people, running down, and be on the move at the same time. Once you make it past the neighborhood, the next part, you need to break your way through the other side of this house. Now, it is blocked out with the I don't know exactly what you want to call it. We'll call it like this little nest that they made, and you gotta activate it or destroy it by getting rid of all the little spots that it's like laying across everywhere. It's really easy because each spot is like in a little bit of a corner. So when you destroy those things, a horde happens, and then you kind of just stand in a corner and make it to where you get all those switches, and then after that you burst your way through. So this part is actually easy. It's the next part that you'll probably want to make sure everybody's in good condition for. Once you break through that wall, this next part is where you either have pipe bombs or your character has a bit of speed, because this part, it's a small little infinite horde until you make it across this little alley. As soon as you get this car out of the way, you are just going to book it. You're just going to run. You don't have time to fight, otherwise they're going to spawn. They're going to overwhelm you because they're jumping out in 2 different sides. Your goal is to mainly just either throw a pipe bomb and then let the Written get distracted by that, and then you make it all the way to the house, and that's when the infinite horde stops. So this part, it's like not too terrible. As long as you have the correct tools, you will be fine, and then you proceed on forward to the final part of this level. When you get out of the house that you just had to run into, this next part, for what I had at least, the ogre spawn. So this is where it kind of was easy because it was like all the way up there. The gun that I have, it does stacking damage, and no matter, once you shoot someone, it'll go all the way down to their health hits 0. So this kind of made the fight a little bit more easier to deal with. And with the other gun that I have, which is like a fire gun, it just burns them, sets them on fire, and I am dealing stacking damage at the same time. So I know you're safe here on this spot. It didn't really come down at me at all, so it really just made this fight a lot easier. And if you do have a horde, you can just hide in that little shed there. At that point, it just makes it all the much more easy. But that's like not the hard part. The next part right here is going to be the most difficult part. Once you took off the boss, the next part is where it becomes an infinite horde. And the reason for that being is in these mines is like these holes, and the Written will wind up keep on spawning no matter how many times you try to get rid of them. You have to basically run and gun and block out the holes you can. This is why the grenades are a crucial part of this. Now there's a hive there. I wanted to not go in there just to show you exactly what I mean. If you have like a pipe bomb, that helps because it'll block the way. If you have speed, that's also going to be helpful. But frag grenades, any kind of like explosive weapons will block the rest of the pathway in. If you don't do that, you will get overwhelmed for sure. They will keep coming non-stop. Sometimes there's not even explosives right there. And over here, as you can see, like I went down and up to this next part. For some reason, I didn't make it throughout this level. I was trying to show the end of the level, but for some reason, all my teammates either got captured or I don't know, some glitch sort of just happened. Games still sometimes have problems. But other than that, this is one of my other harder levels you'll have to deal with. It's doable, but be prepared to have a real bad time getting all the way up to the end. With that being said, let's get on to the next part of the list.
Stop wasting time. God damn it. Bandit, see me.
The Handyman, Act 2, Level 2, is by far the most frustrating level of the game. And not even like it's frustrating because the first level of the game is hard, and if you are weak in that level, then you come to this level. So let me go ahead and break it down. The first part of this, you are going to need a toolkit. Trust me, you will need one. Somebody on your team must have a toolkit, because what this part is about to be, it's about to be one hellish nightmare. So it starts off with there is a bunch of police cars like right out in the open. So if you or any of your teammates shoot one, be prepared to be stuck in that same spot for at least good strong 3 minutes if no one's careless enough for you to shoot the car alarms. Now for bosses, it's usually either the hag or the ogre. If you're lucky enough to get the hag and take that out, then the rest of the part should be easy. But if you get the ogre, it will not spawn here. It will spawn on the most tedious sections. And with the update, like I was mentioning earlier, every war causes a horde. So you gotta just be quick to take it out as soon as you can. And like I said, be sure to have that toolkit in handy. Skipping a little ahead, so this is the part where things get difficult. So you are actually trying to find this person named Bob, and his body parts, his remains, is like everywhere. And also, you need to be careful of the sleepers that hides in the corners, because with that update, it now also causes the horde. So you don't want to get trapped in those. There is like 3 body parts you need to find throughout the map. See how I accidentally didn't witness myself getting caught by the sleeper, and it causes a horde. So of course, we have to stay here and fight. Luckily, those little spots there, they don't cause the horde because you're finding all 3 parts, so at least they made that a little bit easier. I recommend getting all the spots here first, but don't get the big spot. Save that for the last one you need to do. Beforehand, I didn't know the strat, and with that happening, I don't know if the update took it out, but when you got 2 of the remaining parts, they winded up showing up monstrous tall boys, and that's what made the run much more difficult. I don't think it does it anymore now, but before, like they had previous updates, that's what made this level difficult. I mean, it's still hard because you got to go all the way across the map trying to find these body parts, and you have a horde counter, so you got to make sure you get all that quickly in order for it to get done. Once you come over here, this is where the treasure spot, it's always going to spawn here. Definitely have that toolkit ready, because if you are extremely weak, this place is the perfect safe zone where you can heal up. You can heal up the bots too if you like playing by yourself or your teammates, and it's a perfect place to camp when the horde comes around. So if you are weak, come in this room, you're in this corner spot, and it gives you plenty of time to rest and recover while you're handling all the rest of these switches, not even switches, whatever you want to call them, and then get all the rest of the body parts. And then after that, this should be not too difficult, but like I said, beforehand, they used to throw in those monsters tall boys, and that's what caused the level to be such a pain. But after you get everything in, this level should be no problem, hopefully for you. I kind of got easy, like the easier way dealing with this. But alright, we can move on to the next of the list.
God damn it. Bandit, see me.
I lowered the difficulty for this because I am not about to deal with the stress. This one is the 3525. This level, dear God, this level is absolutely nightmarish, hellish. I can't even describe how bad it is. But you won't see it. You won't see it because it's, it's on the lowest difficulty because I had to make it here to get to the very last thing on the list. But we'll get right into it. For this one, if you're playing it on No Hope or Nightmare even, the difficulty will spike. You start off in this hut. Recommend the barbed wire. The barbed wire is almost key. Barbed wire and pipe bombs. That's going to be the key to your survival. Now, playing it by yourself, this what makes the game hard. It's either you have like friends with you and you guys divide it to where it's split to two, or you guys. Oh wow! Thank you for the loud noise outside. Or you guys go ahead and split it up and get each and everything like research is contained. And the big house is right here. You start off with Mr. Rogers demonstrating this weapon to help you get rid of the Ridden. However, something's gone wrong, and now they are all going to be coming after you. The map starts the minute the door opens, and you have to find his research. Now, it only says 3, like I said, because it's on the recruit difficulty, because I was trying to get some footage. But on Nightmare and Hope, that thing skyrockets to 10. You have to find 10 of these things scattered around this gigantic house. And at first glance, the first few minutes, you won't know where anything is. So this is an infinite horde too. You have to hurry and find as much as you can before you get overwhelmed. And not to mention, during this, there's a big ogre outside, which honestly, you don't really have to worry about too much. If you have the weapon to stagger him a lot, then I suggest you go ahead and shoot him first, then worry about everything else later. The only thing that sucks the worst about this is the fact that he has that roar, and that will cause the horde to appear once again. But it is hell not knowing where everything is, and you will get lost in here sometimes. Luckily, they were pretty generous about if you couldn't find where any of the boxes were, they will label it out after being it for so long. That's the plus side. The downside is trying not to get overwhelmed by all the Ridden coming at you, plus all the specials coming after you, plus the ogre, which you technically don't really have to fight. You just need to hurry up and collect all these, and everybody get the truck. That's the main goal, what you have to do. And other than that, this isn't easy at all. This is nightmarish. If you do want a chance to survival, I would suggest putting a lot of barbed wire in front of the house, because that's where everybody will spawn the most. They'll spawn right in front, and that way they'll give you a chance to like either run away and escape while you find the rest of the boxes. But barbed wire doesn't work on tall boys, so just keep in mind on that one. Everybody else, it's fair game at that point. Now on to the last and final thing that struggled for the No Hope run that I had to do.
God damn it. Bandit, see me!
Oh man, the dump. The body dump. This one is by far, in my opinion, the worst level in the game. Just let me give you just an idea of how hard this level was in No Hope. The entire Act 3, like the second half of it was already difficult as it was. But the fact that when your characters, like everybody, when you get to this point is like so weak, and if you have very little money, there's a high chance you are not making it. But this level was so hard, I had to do so many tries to the point where like not retrying the stage wasn't enough. You literally had to restart like half of the act over. If possible, you might have to restart the whole act over, which means you have to go all the way back from the beginning of Act 3, make your way past the neighborhood area, and then make it past all the levels from previous stage to get to here. It is insane. This part is where you need to focus mainly on speed. From what I've learned, that ogre right there spawn, honestly, if you would just like hurt it halfway and then dash away across them, that's when things might be easier for you. At least that's what I've heard. But if you kill it like right then and there, then the more ogres will spawn. Like one will spawn up and then it'll take down less health, which is weird how it worked that way even with the T5s. But once you get past this part, the next step is getting rid of all of the like infected areas where you have to blow up certain spots. You got to take care of all of that, which means you got to run across the map. Plus, there is water that slows you down. Then you have infinite horde. Well, I don't know if it's not really infinite horde. It's more of it's going to be a horde every time you explode those things. So you got to traverse your way across there. You have to figure out if you need the T5 grenades, or the pipe bombs. Like this one was a nightmare to do because of that reason. And then to make things matters worse, every once in a while, if you kill the ogre too fast, another one will spawn. There are 3 of these spots all across around here, and it was insane. It took me a lot of tries to get through this. That's how insane it was. Now, most people would probably think Act 4 or any of the DLCs would have been a lot tougher than this one. To be honest, it only took me a certain amount of tries to get to Act 4. Like, you just need to weak spot damage, and if you do want to try to beat that, pick Carly, because she spots that boss. And the DLCs were honestly the easiest out of the regular levels. The DLC levels were designed to traverse through all that. But the original acts, this level will have you in tears. You'll be lucky enough to actually beat this level and be really proud of yourselves because you just completed one of the hardest ones. But this was all my top 5 of the levels I think was the difficulty. Let me know which level was yours. And if you want to see more Back 4 Blood content, let me know for that. But until next time, guys, y'all have a good day, and I'll see you in the next video.